CQDX, CQDX, CQDX. This is Havana calling. CQDX, CQDX, CQDX. This is Radio Havana calling all shortwave listeners and radio amateurs. Welcome to... DXers Unlimited, Radio Havana's weekly feature dedicated to the fascinating world of radio communications.
Hola amigos radio aficionados all around the world. Congratulations to all of you that enjoy radio. Monday, February the 13th, was World Radio Day, a celebration organized and sponsored by UNESCO, the United Nations Education and Science Commission. Here in Cuba, we celebrated at the 96 radio stations all over the Cuban archipelago and at the Cuban Institute of Radio and Television. Among the highlights of the day, an announcement was made about the starting up of 2 more FM broadcast stations, one at the Mariel Special Economic Development Zone and the other one at mountainous region of central Cuba, a place known as Manicaragua. Beautiful place, by the way. During the 2017, Cuba is celebrating the 95th anniversary of radio broadcasting, 95 years from the first broadcast. In 1922, the first Cuban radio station went on the air and it was heard locally in the city of Havana. I am Arnaldo Arnie Coro, your host here at the middle of the week edition of DXs Unlimited, and here's now item 2 of this show. Very few, and even for several days in a row, no sunspots. This is what's happening and why many ham radio contest regular participants, are also known as contesters, are preparing their antenna systems to accommodate for much better 40, 80, and 160 meters band radiation systems. New antennas for the lower bands. Getting on the low bands can be challenging if one has a small lot or a little rooftop space, as happens to me. But it can be done, and one can have a fairly efficient antenna for the frequency range between 1.8 and 7.3 megahertz. Especially for 40 meters, you can use a small antenna, still efficient. Many contest participants are saying now that the 40 meters band will be from now on the new 20, and 80 meters is described as the near 40 meters band behavior. Although contests are not presently taking place at frequencies lower than 1.8 megahertz, radio amateurs around the world are now exploring the so-called 630 meters band, believing that it will be worth to try by using capacitive top loading and better grounding systems, more radials. As we approach the end of this extremely weak solar cycle, band openings above the 20 meters, the 14 megahertz amateur band, will become less and less frequent, and they will last shorter when it happens. By the way, a world-famous radio amateur and designer of some really outstanding QRP or low-power ham band transceivers recently stated the following: I haven't had much to say about the monthly sunspot numbers for a while, but things have taken a dramatic turn in the past few months. The bottom has fallen out in sunspot activity, and the average sunspot count for the past months clearly shows what is happening. Extremely low sunspot counts. As you all can see, this has been confirmed, and this is a positive confirmation, the lowest sunspot cycle since 1885. I say that again, very important. The present solar cycle is the lowest active one since 1885, and for those of you over 50 years old, you have seen the best there's going to be until 2060 or thereabouts. Nothing similar to what happened, for example, around 1957, 58, 59. See, amigos, the lowest activity sunspot cycle since humans learned how to use the radio waves for communications is now in progress. And now, wait for more bad news. Yes, bad news. Forecasters say that upcoming solar cycle 24 will be still weaker than this one. This is the DXs Unlimited middle of the week program, coming to you shortly after the half-hour Radio Havana Cuba newscast. Now, item 3. I received another very interesting reception report of 1 over 6 megahertz frequencies. Sorry, but it was not possible to our listeners to know which of them it was, because the radio used by listener George, located near Atlanta, Georgia, USA, was a very simple germanium diodes voltage quadrupler detector receiver. 4 diodes in a voltage quadrupler configuration. According to his detailed report of the special edition of DXs Unlimited that went on the air this past weekend, he will receive my special Crystal Radio Radio QSL, very special one, autographed. And Amigo George says in his email that the radio uses a 15-turn coil of insulated hookup wire that was wound on a small length of PVC pipe, about 1 inch or 25 millimeters diameter, a 200 picofarads airspace capacitor for tuning, several ceramic disc capacitors of .01 microfarads, and the 4 hand-picked germanium diodes. He adds that our RHC signal was strong enough to compensate for the normal signal fading of the 49 meters band at that time of the night he was receiving, so it was possible to follow the program while using his 40 meters band half-wave dipole connected to his voltage quadrupler diode detector. Connecting his voltage quadrupler detector receiver to a computer loudspeaker amplifier, it provides desktop reception. Unbelievable. Now, Amigo George is collecting the parts, as expected, to build another simple receiver, a 3-transistors regenerative receiver diagram that will tune from 4.5 to about 12 megahertz in order to enjoy reception from the 60 meters tropical band all the way up to the top end of the 25 meters international shortwave broadcast band. Please stay tuned for more Radio Hub related information coming to you when solar activity continues to be at very low levels, with the daily sunspot counts not exceeding 15. I am Arnie Coro, Radio Amateur CO2KK in Havana. Back with you in just a few seconds. Sí, amigos, this is Radio Havana, Cuba. The name of the show is The Access Unlimited. Here is now our next Radio Hub-related information item. Our sister Spanish language program, En Contacto, enters into its new stage with the retirement of its longtime host, Manolo de la Rosa. I was called by the station's management to host the weekly Spanish program that has a worldwide shortwave listeners community audience at its original target for more than 30 years. At my request, the new version of En Contacto started to include, since the February 12th edition, last Sunday, new topics, including, you guessed, amateur radio too. The show goes on the air Sundays and Mondays UTC days in our Spanish language broadcast, and maybe soon we will include a middle of the week edition too. Item 5, in a few days we will be celebrating our first birthday here at Radio Havana, Cuba. Now let me explain why the first birthday and the existence of a second birthday. We started to broadcast using the name Cuban Experimental Shortwave Station, Onda Corta Experimental Cubana, on the 24th of February of 1961. Several weeks later, during the 1st of May celebrations at Revolution Square, we started to use the present name, Radio Havana, Cuba. Radio Havana, Cuba. Yes, that's the name after May Day, 1961. By the way, our first transmitting antenna was built using electricity utility poles made from very tall Cuban pine trees. The first antenna was cut for our 6,000 kilohertz frequency, and a few days later we installed a second one for our 11,760 kilohertz frequency on the 25 meters band. 2 transmitters were available while the building for our Bauta transmitting site was under construction. We installed them at a small provisional shed. One was a Gates Radio, American-built 1 kilowatt shortwave transmitter, and the second one had just arrived from Switzerland's famous Brown Boveri Corporation factory, and it ran 10 kilowatts. Thanks to the very good shortwave propagation conditions that existed during the year 1961, reports from all around the world started to come in via airmail, and we were very happy. The next item, an anecdote of the early days of Radio Havana, Cuba, when the 70 centimeters band FM studio to transmitter links arrived, and we had to install them to feed our signal from the downtown Havana studios to the Bauta transmitting station site, some 20 miles to the west of the city of Havana. Because the Radio Progreso building did not have a clear UHF signal path to Bauta, our chief engineer, Carlos Estrada, found a clever solution. He asked me to install the 2 UHF 10 watts FM links at the rooftop of the Havana Libre building, big hotel, about 140 meters high, while at the Bauta site, my colleagues built a 70 meters high lattice tower to install the receiving antennas for the links. Engineer Estrada, who was my mentor, contacted his brother Diego, that was one of the chiefs at the telephone company, and we were able to install 2 direct telephone lines from Radio Progreso to the Havana Libre's rooftop where the links were installed. The 2 phone lines provided perfect 10 kilohertz frequency response broadcast quality, and that was all that we needed to feed the transmitters. The system worked without any difficulties for more than 50 years before it was replaced by the fiber optic LAN network of present day. Amigos, send your signal reports and comments to info.rhc@enet.cu or via airmail to Arnie Coro, Radio Havana, Cuba, Havana, Cuba. And now, at the end of the show, as always, when I'm here in Havana, the latest solar data. Solar flux holding around 75 units, sunspot number between 15 and 16, a quiet geomagnetic field, and we are under typical winter propagation conditions prevailing all over the northern hemisphere. See you all at the weekend edition of the Access Unlimited next Sunday and Monday, UTC days.
And that's all for today. This is Arnie Coro, Radio Amateur CO2KK, your host here at Radio Havana's DXS Unlimited, saying 73 and very good DX.
Thanks, Arnie. Arnie Coro with DXers Unlimited, heard every Tuesday here on RHC Radio, Havana, Cuba.